to be a rocket scientist. Tone deaf, so I couldn't be a musician, a rock star. So race calling was third in line, so that's where I ended up.
When did you get your first break, Rob?
First break, probably the first meeting I ever did, about 1980 or 81. I did a non-TAB meeting at Warragul, and it just sort of snowballed from there.
And what do you remember about your early race calling days?
Well, it was difficult. I never had a licence for a long time that I was initially involved in the business, so I spent a lot of time travelling on trains and getting rides with mates and stuff like that. So yeah, difficult times back then, but I think it's probably been worthwhile.
Now, as a kid growing up, did you model yourself on anybody, or who did you admire as a kid growing up?
As a kid, I modelled myself. Well, I didn't really model myself. I wanted to be like Bill Collins. I mean, these sort of Bill Collins is in another league to me. He was just like a god to me. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to call like him. So I suppose there are bits of him that subconsciously I've used, but I didn't really model myself on anybody in particular. Just let it flow the way, the way it comes naturally. But Bill Collins was always a huge influence.
Now, you can call harness racing, thoroughbred racing, but you do have a particular passion for greyhound racing, don't you?
Yep, greyhound racing's probably my first love. I think that's where I cut my teeth. I started calling greyhounds back in 79 or 80, and whilst doing the trots and the gallops are difficult in themselves, I think if you can call a good dog race, it's a real achievement, because they go so quick. It's a difficult, very difficult art to master, and you never quite get on top of it.
What's one of the better greyhounds you've seen?
I had the pleasure of seeing Awesome Assassin create 4 or 5 track records at places that I called at, and I thought he was a super sprinter. So Awesome Assassin's probably the best I've seen.
Rob, what about one of your most memorable days or nights on a race course?
Memorable? I think memorable for me was, I wasn't actually calling, but when I first started at 3DB in about 1982 or 83, the station sent me to Flemington to work with Bill Collins. I didn't do any calling. I sat in the box with him, tote calling all day. And I mean, Bill was a very reticent, very quiet sort of bloke, and we probably only said 10 or 20 words to each other for the day, but I'll never forget it. It was a big, big day for me. Yeah.
Have you got any other interests besides greyhound racing or racing as such? Any other interests at all?
Oh, I love reading, going to films, all the usual sort of stuff. I've got some kids that I can kick the football with. Yeah, plenty of stuff like that. But race calling is a real passion to me and a real calling, so it dominates my life, yeah.
That's the man behind the microphone, Rob Testa. Now, the upcoming event at Ipswich, the greyhounds are at